qu'il y a de nouveau pour toi depuis la fois passée, depuis notre dernière leçon ensemble?
Hein?
Depuis notre dernière leçon ensemble, qu'est-ce qu'il y a de nouveau pour toi? So, what's new for you since last time, since our last lesson together, Alex?
Oh, okay. So I just like learn a lot of different things,
Mm-hmm.
and I finished my other origami
Mm-hmm.
and start on a new one.
Ah oui, tu faisais l'origami, Alex.
Yeah. So
Excellent. L'origami, c'est très très bien ça. Very
so
good. That's
the last
excellent.
one is really small, I could say,
Uh-huh.
and I with this one I really doesn't think about the size. So
Right.
it turns out I only do a part of it, and it
Mm-hmm.
turns out like really
Oh,
big, bigger than
wow, that's
that.
impressive. But is that made with cardboard or with paper?
It's made with paper.
Wow. And it holds so well. I mean, how come the paper is so strong that it can hold like that without like collapsing? Comment
Uh,
est-ce que ça tient? How does it hold from the verb tenir? You know the verb tenir?
no.
Tenir is to hold. So how does it hold? Comment est-ce que ça tient without collapsing?
Uh,
Sans s'écrouler.
so like I have another one. So
Oh,
here.
très bien. Ah,
Here is the where the part there where they connected, and
je vois.
so here there's a pocket and there's
Uh-huh.
like um like a, I let me see what they're called. Like
Uh-huh.
so there's a tab and there's a pocket, and
Mm-hmm.
with those tab and pocket they can hold really tight,
Mm-hmm.
and uh the like the strip of paper why
Uh-huh.
they hold together is because I need to fold them like
Mm.
uh 4 times. So
Ah
uh,
oui, tu as besoin de les plier 4 fois. 4 times, 4 fois.
okay. So um so I fold them 4 times so they are really
Hmm?
tough and doesn't bend or
Ah,
yeah.
voilà. C'est pour cela que ça tient. So the verb to hold again, it holds. C'est parce que tu plies le papier 4 fois. Because you fold the paper 4 times. Tu
Oh, okay.
plies le papier 4 fois. C'est très bien, Alex. Bravo, félicitations. Voilà. Alors, est-ce que tu te souviens là où on s'est arrêté la fois passée dans notre leçon précédente? Est-ce que tu te souviens quel est le dernier verset que nous avons étudié? Did you understand that,
Um,
Alex?
I didn't understand it very well.
Okay, what did you understand? Tell me.
Oh, let me think.
Yes.
I kind of forgot.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so,
So, if I repeat again, uh, où est-ce qu'on s'est arrêté la fois passée dans notre lecture biblique, on s'est arrêté à quel verset?
Okay. So,
What did you understand? Tell me what you understood.
well, was like because I didn't really understand that much, and
Uh-huh.
I was kind of guessing. I think
Yes,
it's about where do we finish last time?
that's
Uh,
exactly right. You see, you guessed correctly. Bravo, Alex. Félicitations. Très, très bien. Et est-ce que tu connais la réponse? And do you know the answer?
yeah. So let me see. So we finish at Bible Luke 1.
Oui,
Um,
Luc
and
chapitre 1. Mhm. Et le verset, euh,
and
le verse,
verse. Let me see. Verse 6.
le verset 6. Donc, est-ce qu'on a déjà fait le verset 6 ou est-ce qu'on doit encore faire le verset 6? Did you understand that?
Uh. Oh wait.
Est-ce qu'on a déjà fait, so I'll write it for you. Est-ce qu'on a déjà fait le verset 6 ou est-ce qu'on doit encore faire le verset 6, Alex?
Okay. So. Uh. Okay. So let me
Mhm.
see. Hmm. Uh, wait a moment.
Mhm.
Hmm. Oh. Okay. So I think it's about do we finish verse 6 or do we are we like halfway and continuing that verse?
That's right, exactly. Have we finished verse 6
Uh,
or do we still need to do verse 6? That's
okay,
exactly
so
right.
we finish.
Exactly.
We finished
We
verse
finished
6.
verse 6. Ah, très bien, Alex. Donc, on peut continuer maintenant avec le verset 7.
Okay.
Le verset 7. Est-ce que tu peux lire pour moi alors, s'il te plaît, en français, le verset 7, Alex?
Okay. So ils n'avaient
Il n'avait,
oh, okay.
uh-huh,
Il n'avait,
oui,
huh, bon, what's that?
il n'avait point,
Point, okay.
point,
Ils
c'est ça?
n'avaient point
Oui,
enfant
très bien.
parce que qui Elizabeth hmm,
C'est ça,
était,
parce qu'Élisabeth,
parce que Elizabeth
oui,
était
était,
stérile.
voilà, était stérile. Oui,
Stérile.
oui,
Okay. So, and wait a moment. C'est stérile.
oui,
Il est, était, l'on
Donc,
est,
ils étaient, because we need to do the
oh,
liaison between the S of il and the E of était. So, ils étaient,
ils étaient,
oui,
l'un et l'autre,
c'est ça. L'un et l'autre,
l'autre
oui,
avancé
avancer
un âge.
en âge. Oui, c'est ça. Excellent, très bien, bravo, bien lu, Alex. Alors, maintenant, quels étaient les mots difficiles dans ce verset 7? Quels sont les mots que tu n'as pas pu bien comprendre?
Okay. So, let me see. Um, let me see. Huh. Okay. Um, so, what is the point in
Point.
point?
Okay. So, tell me what you think it is. Okay.
Well, like if like it looks like point.
Right. So,
Yeah.
point is one of the meanings of point. So if you talk about a point, you could say c'est un point, it's a point. Okay. For example, when you're scoring points, you see, 5
Uh,
points, 5 points, 10 points, 10 points. You see? So
uh,
it can be point like a score, like marks, but also it can have another meaning, especially here, because it's used with the negative. Now, what does the negative usually look like in French, Alex?
uh,
What's the construction of the negative? How do you recognize when it's negative in French? What does it look like?
well, if it's negative, usually have an e, like the end.
After the N, you mean? You have NE. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
That's right. After the N, instead of an apostrophe, there's usually an E, but here there's apostrophe because of the vowels, which cannot be together, one next to each other. So you have to put an apostrophe to replace the first vowel, which is the E in this case, which is normally after the N. And that's before the verb, but what normally comes after the verb when it's a negative?
Afterward.
Pas, pas. Do you
Oh,
remember?
yeah.
So the structure is ne, or it could be an apostrophe, like in this case, and then the verb, and then pas. And
Oh,
that is the negative. All
yeah.
right. Can you see that in the Skype chat, Alex?
Yes.
Tu vois ça. D'accord. Très bien. Now, where is the pas in this case?
So let me see.
Can you see the pas in this case?
No.
Right. That's because it's been replaced by another word, which is the word that is replacing pas. Do you think?
I think it's point.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Exactly right. Now, in the negative, you can either have a standard negative like ne pas, like we mentioned earlier, or you can have a a case like this where you have another word like point, which replaces the pas, which actually gives it a slightly different meaning. You see? Now here, if it's point, it's in a sense of not at all. You see? It's even stronger than just saying not, because if you say not at all, that's even stronger, isn't it, than just simply not on its own, right? If I say there is not any something, it's not the same as saying there is not any something at all. You see, that's much stronger, the at all. And this is why they use this word point, which means at all in this case, not at all in that sense. Now, which other negative words do you know, Alex? Just to show you that this is also the case for other negative words. In English, it'll be easier, unless you know some negative words in French. Do you know any negative words in French?
I think person.
Personne, yes, that's brilliant. You do know some other negative words in French. So, what does personne mean when it's negative in English? How would you translate that into English, Alex?
I think it means nobody, no one.
Exactly. Oh, very good. I'm very impressed that you know that, Alex, that it's no one or nobody, which is more or less the same thing. So here, if you were to say there is nobody or no one, do you know how you would say that in French? How would you say in French, there is nobody or there is no one? How do you say there is in French?
There is I think is I let me think. Say.
Say it is. So it's similar. It can be used as an alternative to there is. You can say it is. But if we don't want to use the word it, which is ce, of course, in the word c'est, or the two words together with the apostrophe, it's C apostrophe instead of CE, but normally it would be CE if there wasn't a vowel at the front of the following word. So here we don't want it, but we want the word there. Or let's say the construction or the expression which gives you the word there. Do you know what that is, or do you want me to give it to you?
No.
Okay, I'll give it to you then. Have you ever heard of the expression il y a?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Do you remember that, il y a? Is that
Yeah.
right? So that means there is. Now, if we want to have the negative, that is to say, there is not, how would you change il y a into the negative form?
So in a negative form,
Yes. I'm making you think hard, aren't you? I'm making you work hard here, Alex, aren't I? But that's when you're going to learn the most. It's when you're working the hardest and finding it difficult. That's because there's lots to learn. If it was easy, then you know most of it already. You're not learning very much, you see. But when it's hard, then you're learning a lot because it's difficult. You understand that, don't you?
yeah.
That's good.
Uh,
Any idea? How would you form the negative? So, what is the first part of the negative form in French? The first word in the construction. You know the construction for the negative in French? There's two
yeah.
words. Take the first
So
word. What's the first word?
na.
Okay, where are you going to put it? That's the question.
Let me see.
You need to put it in the right place. There's three words there, il y a, and you need to add this fourth word, which is actually ne or an apostrophe, And you need to choose where to put it. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different possibilities. So it's either before the first word, before the second word, before the third word, or after the third word. So there's 4 possibilities. Where are you going to put the n? You see, it's very important to know sentence structure and word order. So you need to know where to place words in a sentence, especially when you're forming the negative. You see what I mean, Alex? It's very important to change a positive sentence into a negative sentence. You know the words required, you know the structure, ne pas, but you need to be able to write it correctly, you see, in the right order. So that's what's difficult sometimes, is finding the right place to put that negative structure, to integrate it into the sentence so that your sentence becomes negative with the correct word order and the correct word structure. So you've got 4 possibilities. So which are you going to try first?
So I think, well, it kind of looks like, I think the first word.
So do you want to write it in the Skype chat, or do you want to tell me the position?
I think it's before the first before il.
Well, I'm sorry to say it isn't before ill, so you still have 3 possibilities left.
Okay, so
What will be your second attempt? Your second try?
so
I hope you'll find it before you arrive at the 4th possibility, because obviously when you arrive at the 4th possibility, then you don't even have to think about it, because that's the only one left, you see. So I hope you'll find the answer before you arrive at the 4th possibility. So you're already at your second attempt.
okay, so I think it could be before y.
Yes, before the Y. Correct. You had it on your second go. That's good. Excellent. Well done, Alex. So I'm going to write it in the Skype chat. And this is how you say it. There isn't, in French, il n'y a pas.
Il n'y a pas.
Okay, I'm just going to add the pas, okay, so that you see the usual way of saying there isn't. Il n'y a pas. Can you see that in the Skype chat, Alex?
Yes.
Okay, so now we are not saying pas, saying there isn't on its own. We want to say there isn't anybody. So remember that here we're not adding an extra word like we would in English, because in English that we're adding an extra word. After isn't, we write the word no one or nobody. You see what I mean?
No.
But in French, you don't write an extra word. You change the pas into the word you want to say. Do you see what I mean? It's like point. You see, instead of pas, it's point when it's not at all. So when it's no one or nobody, you would say il n'y a. And what word are you going to use instead of pas?
Il n'y a personne.
That's it. You found it. Oh, well done, Alex. Bravo, Alex. Oh, félicitations. There isn't anyone. Okay, which is the same thing as saying there is nobody. If there isn't anyone, which also equals, therefore, there is nobody, which actually is the same in English, because in English there's 2 ways of saying it. Either you say there isn't anyone, but if you want to make it even shorter, like the French, you say there is, and instead of saying there is not a person, you say there is nobody. You see that? Like the French, the English do not say there is not a person. They say there is nobody or no one. You see that, Alex?
Yes.
Tu comprends?
Yeah.
Did you understand the question, Alex?
Yes. So wait, I think it's kind
What did
of
I ask? Just to
uh,
make sure you understood the question. When I
yeah.
asked you, quels
I think
sont les autres mots en français qui sont négatifs? What did
mm,
I say?
so.
Any idea?
Wait a moment.
Okay.
I think it's kind of flagging now. Uh,
Okay.
the video is kind of lagging.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
so I think it's okay now. So
Okay, that's good. Wonderful.
okay.
As long as you can hear me all right, that's the main thing. So, tell me, what does it mean in English when I ask you, quels sont les autres mots en français qui sont négatifs?
So in English, I think it means like huh, like understand the
So,
like
I'm asking, what
uh,
are the other
uh,
words, you see,
hmm,
in French, which are, and the word négatif in French is which word in English?
uh,
Négatif.
negative.
Negative, right. So which other words do you know in French which are negative? So you correctly said personne earlier. Now, can you think of any other negative words in French? And if you
Mm,
can't think of them in French, say them in English and then try and translate it into French.
okay, so let
We're
me
st-
think.
t- today, I think we're studying the negative. This is a good exercise for you to be able to express yourself when saying something negative. You see, it's important as well because I know we are called to be positive, but sometimes we have to say no and say something negative.
Okay,
So, so it's
yeah,
good to know how to say it.
okay. Um, hmm. Uh, um, uh, huh. I I kind of don't know. Huh.
Do you know any others in French, or do you only know other words in English which are negative?
I think I know one in French, but I
Yes.
kind of forgot.
Okay.
Oh, so let me think of the English word.
Maybe
Uh,
if you think of it in English, that'll remind you what it was in French, if you see what I mean.
uh,
So do a bit of brainstorming. Think of all the negative words you can think of. You can write them all down in the Skype chat so you don't forget them, if you like,
yeah.
as you
Um,
think of them. Each time you think of one, you write it down in the Skype chat,
mm,
and then we'll translate it into French.
okay. Um, uh, oh, so I know one, but I kind of I forgot what that is in French. It's nothing and
Nothing. Yes, very good, Alex. Nothing. Brilliant. So now in French, so you don't remember in French what it means?
no.
Okay. So I'll tell you, in French, it's the word rien.
Oh,
Do you,
yeah.
do you remember now? Does that remind you?
Yes.
Yes? That's
Yeah.
good. It's good to refresh your memory like that. So now we're going to use the same construction as before. Give me a sentence, a negative sentence, obviously, using the word nothing in English, and then we'll translate it into French. So you see how to say it in French. So first of all, in English, give me a sentence or make up a sentence in English using the word nothing. And,
Okay.
and I'm and I'm
So,
sorry. I'm sorry for being so negative. I don't like to be negative, but sometimes you have to be. You don't have
uh,
any choice. I'd
uh,
rather be positive. I'd rather be optimistic and positive. You see, I don't like being negative and pessimistic.
uh, so, huh. Uh,
Doesn't
hmm.
have to be complicated.
Yeah.
The first thing you can think of with the word nothing, the first sentence you can
Okay.
think of, just say anything with the word nothing in it.
Nothing has happened.
Okay. Uh, right. Yes, you can do it in that way. So nothing has happened. And how would you say that in French? You already know the word nothing, don't you?
Yeah.
So the word
So,
nothing, how would you say that?
rien
Right.
have happened. Uh,
So how do you say has happened? The word to happen, do you know the verb? How do you say it in French? When something happens, what is that in
uh,
French?
I don't know.
Have you ever heard in English the expression when something has come to pass? What does it mean in English when something has come to pass?
Come to pass.
Have you ever heard of that expression in English?
No.
It's occurred, it's taken place, it's come to pass. What do,
Mm,
what do all of these expressions mean?
well, I only know the first two, and
You know the
yeah.
first two, and you know it's the same thing as it's happened. If it's occurred, it's taken place, it's come to pass, and it's happened. All of those four expressions mean exactly the same thing. You see, they're synonyms. So here, in French, if you remember it's come to pass, in French we talk about something passing in the sense it's happening, so it's passing. The event is passing by. So remember that word to pass, and in French, it's also the same word to pass. So you would say, if it has happened, ça s'est passé. But as it's negative, we say, rien ne s'est passé.
Rien ne s'est passé.
That's right. Rien ne s'est passé because it's the verb to happen, okay, which is se passer. So rien ne s'est passé. There we are. I've written it in the Skype chat for you. Can you see that, Alex?
Yes.
So
So,
where is the word pas here? Remember, in French, we usually have ne pas for the negative. Where is the word pas? Now, don't confuse pas
so
with passé because passé is totally different. That's a verb to pass. But where is the word pas, P-A-S? Can you see it
uh,
in that phrase in
mm,
French? Where is the word pas in French in that phrase?
okay.
Can you see it? Can you see the word pas? Look carefully. Look at it very closely and see if you can see the word pas, P-A-S. Can you see it, Alex, or not?
Yes.
You can see it. Oh, really? Where
Uh,
is it? Where can you see it? Tell me.
well, in passé,
Well, passer is the verb to pass, but it's
yeah.
not the same as pas, which means not. So you mustn't confuse those two just because they start with the same three letters.
Yeah.
But the actual word pa, three-letter word, can you actually see that three-letter word pa, P-A-S, in that sentence?
No.
So, because, why can't you see it? What has it been replaced by?
Because it's been replaced by rien, I think.
That's it. You've understood it. Can you see how rien can replace the word pas in French when you're forming the negative?
Yeah.
You
So
understand that? Yes?
so I think like all negative words can replace the pa.
Exactly. Any negative word can replace the pas. So let's have one more example. Think of another negative word, Alex. And once again, I'm very sorry for being so negative.
Okay. So
Either
um
in French or in English, you have the choice.
okay.
Whatever's easiest for you. A French
So,
word or an English word which is negative.
so um, uh huh. Uh um hmm. I kind of
You can't think of it. I know, probably because you're so positive and you're not used to using all these negative words. I understand, Alex. It's difficult to be negative when you're so positive.
okay.
Okay,
So
I'll help you out. Have you ever heard? Uh, Actually, this is a song from the Beatles. Are you familiar with the Beatles, Alex?
well, I heard of them, but
Have
I
you
don't
heard of any of their songs?
I don't think so. I
Uh,
maybe, but I if I did, I really forgot I forgot all of them.
Okay. Well, there's a very negative song by the Beatles, which has lots of negative words. It's all about a man who's very negative, and his name is the Nowhere Man. Have you ever
Oh,
heard of the Nowhere Man?
okay. So no. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So wow. I think um really a strange part or strange thing in English is like if I doesn't really hear you saying nowhere, I really will like mess up on this like word because I don't know why, but I then think of it like no and where. I think of it like now and here. So,
Ah, that's interesting. So you didn't actually realize that nowhere means not anywhere.
yeah, I know it,
Wow.
but
Ah, you do know
when,
it.
but when
But
I
if you
saw that
when you saw
word,
it, you thought it was now here rather than
yeah,
no where.
yeah,
I see what you mean. So now that you know which other negative word you can use, give me a sentence using the word nowhere in English,
uh,
and then we'll translate it into French.
okay, so no way. Um,
By the way,
uh,
do you know what nowhere means in French?
yeah, no.
No. Okay, that's all right. Well, first of all, think of a sentence in English then with the
Okay.
word
Uh,
nowhere. I mean, if you knew nowhere in French, then you could have directly done a sentence in French with nowhere. But as you don't know, then we'll start with the English then to make it easy and then translate it into French.
okay. So,
Something really simple, not complicated, nice and
okay.
short. So it's
So,
easy. You don't have to work too hard. Just a strict minimum for you to understand these negatives. We don't want to be too negative. Just a strict minimum required. Just as much as is required to understand the negatives, but not more negative than that. So we don't want it to be too long, as short as possible. So we're not too negative.
Okay. So, mm, nowhere. Huh. So,
You can't think of a sentence from nowhere?
well,
You're
well,
not used to using this word. I know you're so positive. So
oh,
you
I
never met.
I kind of use it really often because I forgot
Ah,
things. So I'm
okay.
really like it's like I forgot where it is. So it's like nowhere to be found.
Okay, well, that's right. That's a good sentence.
Okay.
It's nowhere to be found.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Well,
think that's kind
that's a
of
good sentence. Yes, of course, it's a good sentence. It's nowhere to be found.
uh,
Uh, we can actually make it even shorter and simpler, just saying it's nowhere. If somebody was to ask you, where is it? And you would say, it's nowhere because it doesn't exist, maybe.
okay.
Okay, let's just keep it nice and simple and have the sentence in English. It's nowhere.
Okay.
Like that. You see that in the Skype chat?
Uh,
And how would you say that in French? You know how to say it's in French, don't you?
yeah.
How do you say it's in French, which is like
Uh,
saying it is?
so it is like really easy.
Very easy. You said it earlier, if you remember what you said earlier.
Okay.
What did you say earlier?
Ah, say.
C'est. That's right. Exactly. Well done. C'est. So, uh, now we need the word for nowhere. Now I'm going to give it to you. It's uh, nulle part.
New
Okay.
bar.
Have you ever heard of that word? Nulle part.
No, because I didn't think I is like used pretty often, and I talking I guess with other people.
Mm-hmm.
But, because it's kind of strange when you say nowhere to anybody. So
Yes, that's true. If somebody was asking you where it is, of course, it's easier to say, I mean, it's more usual to say it's nowhere to be found than to say it's nowhere, because if you say it's nowhere, that means it doesn't exist. But somebody could say, um, uh, where can I find such a thing? And you would say, well, nowhere. You can't find it anywhere because it doesn't exist, if you see what I mean. So it's nowhere to be found. Okay. So can you understand this expression in French? Nulle part. Literally, what does each of those words nulle part mean? If you take each part of each word separately, nul, what do you think nul means?
uh,
It's like the English. Do you know the English word, which is similar?
uh, new
Ever heard
um
of null? N-U double
now
L. In English, it's with two L's. Null. What is null?
no
Or nil?
no
Or naught?
no
Have you heard of
I
all these words? These are all English words. Null, nil, and naught. And basically, they all mean the same thing.
okay so
You've never heard of these three words?
uh I don't think so.
Oh, that's good. Then you're improving your English as well. We're doing a Frenglish lesson, which is French and English combined, you see.
Okay.
Or we could say we're doing a lesson in Franglais. Have you heard of franglais?
Franglais.
Franglais is a mixture of français et anglais. Quand c'est un mélange de français et d'anglais, on dit que c'est du franglais. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So, null basically means nothing or zero. Okay?
Okay.
Nil, same thing, zero or nothing. And naught, once again, nothing or zero. Yes.
So I think I heard of notes before.
Yes, naught is more common. That's the most common out of the three. Naught is the most common, but null and nil are a little bit less common.
Okay. So because I heard it really often in people who like talking about math.
Who are talking about, not people who talking about, who are talking about. You see, I'm correcting your English as well.
Are talking about math.
Yes.
They really say not often when it's like I don't know about coordinates and things like that. I guess
Because naught is actually the digit zero. You see where you see the round zero?
Yeah.
Well, another way of describing it is a naught. You see? Okay, that's good. So now you know that nul means nothing or naught or nil or null or zero. Okay?
Okay.
And what about part? P-A-R-T. What does that look like in English?
Well, parts.
Right. And that's what it means. You see, it's so easy. In French, the word part is pronounced differently, but it's spelt the same, and it means the same as the word part in English. So easy, isn't it, Alex? Yes.
The snow part.
Exactly. Well, if you're asking where it is, that's like in which place or which part it's in, that means which locality. So which part of the house, which part of the neighborhood, which part of the field, which part of the countryside, which part of the city. You see? So if it's in no part at all, that means it's in no area. It's in no place. It's nowhere, basically. You understand the logic there?
Yeah.
Right. That's good because you need to understand that kind of logic because that'll help you remember that expression. If you remember that nowhere means it's in no particular part, in no part at all, that means it's in no place at all. It's nowhere. Okay?
Okay.
That's good. And let's have just one last negative word to finish off with. Once again, all my apologies for being so negative. And can you think of one more negative word? It's the most negative word of all. Can you imagine that? The worst one. Because obviously we don't like to be negative, so it's bad to be negative. So if it's the most negative word, it's the worst word because it's the one that's the most negative of all. It's so negative. It's terribly negative. It's awfully. What is the most negative word you can think of, Alex? Think of a really negative word. And it's probably even more negative than that word, unless you find the right word.
Okay, so let me see. So, never?
Right, that's it. Oh, brilliant. Oh, Alex. Oh, I'm so impressed. Well done. Congratulations. 10 out of 10. Top of the class, best student, the best, simply the best, and better than all the rest. Oh, Alex, 100%. Full marks.
Okay.
Yes. I'm very impressed. So, never.
Never.
And what is the word for never in French, Alex?
Oh, wait, I think I know. Wait a moment.
Do you remember the James Bond film, Never Say Never Again? I mean, that's doubly negative. I mean, there's two nevers in the title, and then never is the most negative word because it never happened. Then never say never again. That's doubly the worst negative thing you can possibly say. It's never,
uh,
never. I mean, never is bad enough, but imagine if it's never, never. Never
uh,
say never again.
okay.
Or the
So,
never-ending story. Have you heard of the film Never-ending Story?
never-ending story.
With a song, Never-ending story, story.
Oh, okay.
Ah, you remember that?
I think
Never-ending
I
story.
know that song, but
Remember that song? Oh, it's very famous.
I never know that film.
Never-ending story. It's a film, actually. It's probably a book originally, but it's quite amazing. If you ever have the opportunity to see that film, it's really worth seeing. And you'll
Uh,
love. I'm sure you'll love it. I loved it, so I'm sure you'll like it too. And the song is absolutely brilliant.
uh,
Okay, even though it's negative, even though it's the most negative word there is. So,
yeah.
so what is the word in French then for never? Hmm.
Never. No. Uh,
Maybe you know. Try and think, just in case you do know.
uh, no.
You can't think? No.
No.
Okay. So in French we say jamais. Do you remember the word jamais in French?
No.
Oh, that's a new
Uh,
word for you. Hey, new word of vocabulary. Ah, you
uh,
need to remember that one, just in case you need to use it. Okay, so uh, think of a sentence, and as you have the word already in French, you could say it in French if you like, with the word never, the word
okay.
jamais, either in English or in French, you choose. But whichever
Uh,
one you choose, we're still going to have to translate it into the other language. So
uh,
you're not going to avoid the translation, even if you have it directly in French, because I want to make sure that what you were saying in French, you know what it is in English.
uh, um.
I know it's difficult
Yeah.
being so negative. I know it's difficult to be so negative to find a
The
sentence with never. It's very difficult,
thing.
especially when you're a positive person and you like being
What?
positive all the time and optimistic.
No.
Then
Yeah.
you would then you would never say never, would you?
The
If you're
I.
always optimistic and always positive, you'd never say never because never is the most negative word you can say.
Okay. I think. Uh. Uh. I can never finish this thing.
Yes, I can never finish this. Okay. So now let me write it first of all in English. I can never finish this. Right. How would you say that in French, Alex?
Okay. Let me think. I can never finish this.
I can never finish this.
Mm, oh, so. Hmm.
Hmm.
Je ne finish. Uh, huh. So never. Uh, je ne jamais. Uh,
So remember, we don't have the two negative words in French, like ne pas, next to each other. There's
Oh,
always a little gap, a little space, and what you put in between that little gap, or in that little gap, between the ne and the pas, or
okay.
the ne and the other negative word. There's always something in between, because we don't say je ne pas this or je ne pas that.
Okay.
So it's
So
always je ne and then another word. So what is that other word that you would put in between the ne and the pas?
finish.
Right. And what is the word for finish in French? Do you know?
No.
Okay. So, do you know another word for finish in English? Because it's actually similar to another word for finish. Think of a synonym of the word finish in English. What
Okay.
is another word which means the same thing as finish in English?
Uh, done.
It's done, it's ended, but there's another word which is a bit longer, and it's like a film, if you like films. Do you like films, Alex? Do you like
Oh,
movies and films and videos and things like that?
kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of movie I really like.
What
Uh,
about an action movie? So you have one letter and then a number, a letter like letter T, okay, T like tango, and then a number like T1, T2, T3. Does that remind you of any film? Action film?
uh, T1, T2.
T1, T2, T3.
No.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger? You know Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No.
You've never heard of Arnold Schwarzenegger? Oh,
No.
wow. Have you heard of the film Terminator?
Terminator. Uh,
Yes. Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator 3.
wait, can you send me the name because
Yes, I'll write the name for you. Maybe you know it in your language.
uh,
Terminator. There we go.
wait a moment.
It's quite a famous film, actually.
Okay, so let me search. Um,
And what does the word Terminator mean?
uh, oh, okay.
Hmm.
So I know that that is pretty famous.
Ah, you see? Had you
Yeah.
have you actually seen this film before or not?
Well, um, I cannot say I did, but
You can't
um,
you can't remember exactly.
uh, I know it, but it's like when I search of it, I have no idea which one is the first and which one is second.
And
So
which
I
one is the third?
just
Because there was a third film as well. There was a T1, a T2, and I think there was a T3, unless I'm mistaken.
so so I just like how to say so I just like how to say I forgot how to say that,
Uh-huh.
but
This is a good exercise for you to practice trying to say things, especially things that you may have forgotten, you see, because this is refreshing your memory, and it's a practical exercise to help you uh, say things, create sentences, express your thoughts, because you probably know in your head what it is you want to say. It's just finding the right words to say it. Do you see what I
oh
mean, Alex?
okay.
So it's a good
So
exercise in doing this.
so I
Conver-
think so. I only like watched the first few clips of the.
Ah, yes.
So I have no idea what happened.
What happened? But just the name Terminator. Do you have any idea what that name means?
Yeah. So I think it means uh the like uh like ending
Exactly. It's a person who ends things, who finish things off. But not only things, but people as well. He ends them. He finishes them off, if you see what I mean, in
Okay.
the film. So you see what kind of person this Terminator is. A
Yeah.
person who tends to end things and people who finishes people off and finishes things off. So,
Yeah.
what is the verb that comes from that?
Well. So.
Terminator is like the noun. What is the verb?
So let me think.
In the
Uh,
infinitive, the verb to terminate.
per. Terminant.
Terminate. Have you ever heard of the verb to terminate?
Yes, but it's like I never really,
You've never
um,
used that verb. You've never, well, you like doing things, starting things, um, but you're not so much into the ending of things and finishing things off. Or at least not like Terminator, because that's a bit extreme, of course. So now this word or this verb to terminate is the word we're looking for, or at least it's similar to the word we're looking for in French to mean finish. Okay?
okay.
Because in French we say, so to terminate, in French it's terminer when it's the infinitive. Can you see how close terminer is to terminate? Can you see how close it is? It's very
Yeah,
close, isn't it? So you won't forget this, will you? You won't
yeah,
forget the terminator and the verb to terminate and the
yeah,
verb. This is why I'm explaining all this so that you remember it, you see. It's easier for you to remember. When you want to say finish, you think of the finisher, the ender, the one who ends things and people, who finishes people off and ends things off. Okay. So now we know the word or the verb in French to finish, which is terminer. Now you can complete your sentence. How would
yeah.
you translate now that sentence from English into French?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Je ne je ne terminerai jamais ça.
Voilà, très bien, Alex. Je oh yes, because it's also the verb can, so you also have to give the sense of can. What is the verb can in French? How would you translate that?
Can. Okay. So
Yes.
the word can. Uh, huh. Oh,
How would you say can in French? Any idea? It's like the verb to be able to do something. How would you say the verb to be able to do something in French?
to be able to do something.
Mhm.
Pour
Sorry, what did you say?
uh, oh, okay. So, j'ai pu, je ne puis pas, je ne peux pas.
Voilà, peut, exactement. Je ne peux pas. Very good.
Okay, so without a pas, it will be je ne je ne peux jamais faire.
Voilà, très bien, Alex. Super. Tu as bien remplacé le mot pas. Au lieu de dire je ne peux pas, tu as bien remplacé le mot pas par le mot jamais. Et c'est exact. C'est exactement ça. Je ne peux jamais. So what comes next? Je ne peux
Okay,
jamais, which is I can never instead of I
je ne,
cannot. So you've
je ne,
understood how to replace the word not by never, which is the same as in English. In English, instead of saying I cannot, we say I can never. So je ne peux jamais. And how do you say finish now?
okay.
The verb?
So, je ne peux jamais, de,
Jamais. Je ne
jamais,
peux jamais.
je ne
Yes.
peux jamais terminer ça.
Voilà, je ne peux jamais terminer ça. You've done it, Alex. Yes, well done. Bravo, Alex. Woo! 10 sur 10.
Oh,
100%. Meilleur de la classe. Meilleur élève. Le premier. Le meilleur. euh, euh, simplement le meilleur et rien que le meilleur.
thank you
Tu,
very much. Yeah.
tu comprends, Alex, en français? Tu comprends?
Uh,
Oui?
Oui.
Oh, excellent. Je suis très content pour toi, Alex. Alors, Alex, dis-moi, comment est-ce que tu as trouvé cette leçon? Est-ce que c'était intéressant? Est-ce que c'était utile? Est-ce que ça t'a aidé? Est-ce que tu as appris des nouvelles choses, Alex? Did you understand what I said there?
Uh, no.
How did you find the lesson? What did you think of it? What's your impression, your opinion? Did you like it? Was it interesting, helpful, useful? Did you learn some new things, Alex?
Yeah, I think it's very useful, and
Mm-hmm.
I learned really a lot of things, and
Mm.
I have to say, um, it's like both a French class and English class, so
Ah
yeah.
oui, c'est vrai, on a eu le français, on a eu l'anglais et on a eu aussi le cinéma. It was also a cinema class because we were talking about films like Terminator and Neverending Story and
Uh,
songs like the Beatles songs, Nowhere Man, and
yeah.
wow, lots
Uh,
of lots of media as well, songs, films. So it was a multimedia class as well.
uh,
Multimedia. In French, we say multimedia.
Multimedia.
Multimedia. That's how we say it in French, which means like multimedia.
Okay.
Très bien. Bravo, Alex. Merci beaucoup pour la leçon. Merci, Alex. Merci.
Merci.
Avec plaisir. Et à la prochaine fois, à la prochaine leçon. Oui. À
Oui.
très bientôt. Merci bien, Alex. À bientôt.
À bientôt.
À bientôt. Merci. Au revoir.
Au